commitment to achieve net zero emissions by 2070 is poised to lead the nation on a path to clean, green and sustainable economic development. At the UN Climate Change Conference in Glasgow, COP26 last year, India committed to meeting 50% of its energy needs from renewable energy by 2030. Achieving this clean energy transition requires equal amounts of commitment, awareness and action. And this is why the News18 network is launching a very special initiative, Tata Power Sustainable is Attainable. The initiative aims to raise awareness and build conversations into how businesses, governments and we the people can together create a sustainable and low-carbon future. To meet India's clean energy transition goals, the electric utility sector holds critical responsibility, and Tata Power, India's largest integrated power company, is a leader in clean energy generation with 32% of its portfolio made up of renewables. With growing focus on new-age energy solutions, including solar rooftop, EV chargers, solar pumps, smart meters and energy management solutions, Tata Power is playing a leading role in India's energy transition journey. Today, to understand why Tata Power thinks sustainable is attainable, we have with us Praveer Sinha, the CEO and Managing Director of Tata Power. Mr. Sinha, always a pleasure. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us here on the program, and appreciate your time here in Mumbai. You know, for the context of our viewers who are watching, I want to just highlight some of the aspects that make Tata Power's efforts to build on the renewable space so commendable. If we take a look at CapEx, Tata Power has planned a CapEx of over 75,000 crores over the next 5 years in renewables. Very strong solar EPC order book of about 13,000 crores, about 700 megawatts of capacity in renewables added in FY22, and you plan to increase your green energy share to 60% over the next 5 years. So it's very, very clear that the focus is on going clean and green for you at Tata Power.
Thank you, Shireen. First of all, I would like to thank and compliment News 18 network for partnering with Tata Power on the new and special initiative of Sustainable is Attainable. Sustainable is Attainable is about use of green and clean energy to meet the aspirations and expectations of a growing country like India. It is about providing energy security, energy equity and energy sustainability, more so when we are celebrating 75 years of India's independence. India is the largest and the fastest growing economy and will witness the largest increase in energy demand worldwide in the coming decades. Clean and green energy will play a major role in meeting this increased demand, where what will matter most will be the accessibility and affordability of power. This is where Tata Power intends to play a major role by enabling businesses and consumers to make a small yet significant changes today for attaining a sustainable lifestyle. It is also important for Tata Power, as its pillar of sustainability was based on which the company was set up more than 100 years back. The vision of our founder, Sir Jamshedji Tata, was to provide clean, abundant and affordable energy to the people of this country. Its relevance is more now than what it was 100 years back. As a responsible corporate citizen, it is important for us to demonstrate our strong commitment to sustainability. We need to walk the talk. Tata Power believes that transition to green energy, e-mobility and energy optimization can trigger a big wave of sustainable growth for the country. In addition to driving the country's growth, we believe our foremost responsibility is also to lead the way in which we can reverse climate change. For us, this transition to green energy is not an option, but a commitment to support the people of this country. Tata Power is working towards a very aggressive and ambitious target of achieving sustainable operations across all its lines of businesses. From the present 32% of green energy portfolio, we propose to become 70% green portfolio by 2030 and 100% by 2045. In fact, Tata Power is the first company in the country with a net zero target by 2045. We strongly believe that sustainable is attainable for every one of us. Small changes that we will make in our everyday lives today will make a greener and more sustainable tomorrow for our future.
You know, and that brings me to my next question, because that is exactly what people must be imagining when they think about sustainable being attainable. How quickly can we make that transition? How real is this transition going to be? And you gave us some glimpse of what you are thinking at this point in time as far as Tata Power is concerned. What does the transition roadmap look like as we move towards sustainable is attainable?
Tata Power is working towards enabling millions of Indians transition to sustainable products and solutions for whether it is their factories or homes or mobility, whether it is in urban areas or rural areas. With the advent of new technologies and innovation, these clean energy solutions will become commercially viable and also economical for the consumers, so that they can reap the benefits over the conventional power supply. It is our firm belief that sustainable is attainable, as we are offering customers with customized offerings based on their needs and are creating a whole ecosystem of easy adoption. And these are related in rural areas through solar pumps and microgrids in villages. In fact, we have the largest microgrid initiative in the world, and we want to make it financially sustainable so that it is not on gratis or on grant from people. We are also working on energy management services for small and medium industries so that they can take the benefits of improving their cost of services or cost of production. We are also creating huge amount of platforms whereby consumers, whether it is enterprise consumers or it is individual consumers, are able to use the energy efficiently. We want to also work very closely with millions of Indians to fast track their adoption of green energy solutions and products through these initiatives. With this partnership with Network 18, we intend to achieve scale and disseminate the important message across the country that sustainable is definitely achievable.
Give me examples of the things that you've been able to change within Tata Power to ensure that you move towards this hybrid, power model that you speak of.
I think, as I mentioned, India is one of the largest and the biggest in terms of energy consumption in the future. And for us, we need to come up with new solutions. I think we have seen globally 3 changes have happened. The first is the decarbonization which is taking place. Clean and green energy is becoming a norm globally as also in our country. The second change that we are seeing is decentralization of energy that is taking place. Whole lot of opportunities are coming that decentralized generation can take place, whether it is in cities through rooftop solar solutions, and this can be for both industries as well as commercial establishment and residential users, as also in villages through the microgrid and the solar pumps solution. We have also seen that how do we work towards models which talk about hybrid solutions. We have huge amount of generation that can happen during daytime through solar plants, and then in the evening and night we can have generation through the wind power plants. And wherever there is a shortfall, we can support it through hydro plants and through storage. And I think the hybrid solutions that we are now offering to the consumers will help them to ensure that they get 24/7 electricity and make them operate like a conventional dispatchable power plant. I think there is a great opportunity for us to provide solutions, and these are hybrid solutions These are solutions which meets the load requirement based on the profile of the load. And I think for us, the solutions will help us to move towards using renewable sources of energy on 24/7 for meeting our energy requirement in future.
On that note, we'll take a short break. On Tata Power presents Sustainable is Attainable, an initiative by News18 Network. When we return, the conversation extends to understand the emerging sustainable energy solutions and also discuss consumer demand in the renewable energy space. Stay tuned for more. Welcome back. You're watching Tata Power presents Sustainable is Attainable, an initiative by News18 Network. We are in conversation with Praveer Sinha, the CEO and MD of Tata Power. And now we talk about the emerging trends in the renewable energy market. We focus on how consumer behavior is embracing sustainability. Mr. Sinha, let me now understand from you in terms of building out this ecosystem in collaboration with the central government, in collaboration with state governments, things and initiatives that Tata Power is doing. For instance, you have set up this Clean Energy Lab. Take us through how you believe all stakeholders can combine their energies to build out the renewable energy ecosystem.
You are right, Shireen. The Clean Energy International Incubation Center, which we have set up in Delhi, has been set up with the support of Social Alpha, which is again supported by Tata Trust. Tata Power has been an important part of this whole incubation hub. And also we have Government of India through DBT and DST supporting this innovation platform that has been set up. This is the first international incubator in India and is also part of the mission innovation where many of the European countries are involved. The incubator has been designed to offer complete lab to market incubation support for many of the startups who are working in clean energy space. And these are not only Indian startups but also some international startups who are bringing in new technologies which will help us to make a huge social and environmental impact. In fact, not only the Clean Energy Incubation Hub supports the incubatees, but also it helps them by providing them last mile connectivity and end use deployment for successful research outputs. And that's where I think Tata Power and some of the other industry partners are able to support them to take it to the market very quickly. The three core areas that we look for innovation is about universal energy access, energy efficiency, and breakthrough clean technologies. And we strongly believe that the convergence of all these holds the potential to transform the way the world will produce and consume energy. We focus on proactive, curated, and demand-driven technology solutions in each of these three spaces.
On the e-mobility side, I want to understand from you, what is the vision that Tata Power has? Whether it is setting up charging infrastructure, which at this point in time in the country is very scarce, and so that holds back the EV aspiration. Take me through what the plan is for the EV side of the story that Tata Power is focusing on.
Tata Power is fully committed towards powering electric mobility using green energy. However, what we have seen, and when we put the EV charging infrastructure at various places, that there is a huge concern with the buyers of electric vehicle that if they run out of the charge in the middle of a road or a highway, what will happen? Tata Power has today the largest EV charging network deployed across the country and is working towards addressing the range anxiety issue that users of electric vehicle have. It is also informing the customers through our app in terms of where the charging infrastructure is there, whether it is a slow charger or a fast charger, whether the charger is in use by someone and if you would like to block it in advance for your usage. So there is huge amount of work that we are doing, and these are work not only in ensuring that the availability of the charger is there, but also in ensuring that the customer experience is phenomenal and the customer uses all this in a seamless manner. I think Tata Power has worked a lot in this area. It has the largest infrastructure for public chargers. Nearly 2,300 plus public chargers are there all over the country on highways. Nearly 20,000 home chargers are there, out of which nearly 500 chargers are on the highways. We believe that we can work very closely with the government in putting up these chargers. Apart from that, we work very closely with the automobile OEMs, Tata Motors, Jaguar, MG Motors are some of them with whom we work very closely. If any consumer buys a electric vehicle, the first thing they require is a home charger, and Tata Power is a preferred partner with all these OEMs. So I think the whole Tata ecosystem is geared up to provide a unique, seamless and a customer delight experience for consumers who want to use electric vehicle. And I think going forward, this will be a huge change in the way the mobility takes place in the country. In our quest to provide better EV charging infrastructure, we are now doing a unique program of having charging infrastructure created right across the country.
But what are some of the key challenges that you foresee that need to be addressed, perhaps at the policy level, perhaps at the execution front? What are some of the key challenges that you believe need to be ironed out as we move forward?
To meet the objective of saying that sustainable is attainable, I feel that there are three areas where we would require support. The first is about the government support, especially in terms of policy and regulations, which will help us to move towards more of clean and green energy. The recent announcement by the government of reaching a 47% target for renewable purchase obligation for utilities and enterprise and industry, I think is a very welcome step, and that should help us to reach our objective of 500 gigawatt clean energy by 2030. However, this will require a lot of support from the state discoms and from the other user industries who will have to ensure that they meet the renewable purchase obligation which has been set by the government. Enforcement of this will be very necessary, and that's where the regulatory system will have to ensure that there are incentives and penalties for people if they do not comply to the requirement of the renewable purchase obligation. The second area I think which is very important is that most of the utility scale generation that takes place in the country, the purchase of power is done by the state discoms, and most of the state discoms are in financial stress. It is important that those discoms are made commercially viable and they are in a position to purchase more of renewable power, clean power, and are also able to pay for that at the given time. Coming to the discoms, another area they will have to work very closely is on the distribution reforms. The smart metering, the smart grid, and the solutions which are available today to manage the supply of power on real-time basis, as also monitor its usage, will be a very, very critical aspect in our journey towards making sustainable is attainable. The last area that I feel we should look very seriously is the decentralization of energy that can happen. How do we empower customers to generate electricity themselves, use it for themselves, as well as if they have additional capacity, they can give it to the grid, or also to the other consumers, the peer consumers can be supplied that energy. Enabling provision for that needs to be done. In rural areas, how do we ensure that solar pumps are promoted actively, whereby the farmer not only can use energy for themselves, but can also, in fact, sell water to nearby farms. And we have seen many a times that they do not need to use so much of energy that gets produced in the solar pumps. In fact, there have been very good experiments that Tata Power has done, whereby the farmers are in a position to supply the excess energy that they have to close by industries, shops. Simple things like flour mill requires energy and they supply it to them. So I think clean and green energy is making huge business sense, and if the right policy framework is there, if the right support from the government and the regulatory system is there, and there are right solutions which companies can offer to the consumers, including financing support, then I think we will be able to achieve the target of 500 gigawatt of clean energy by 2030. And I am very positive that from Tata Power side, we'll work very closely with the government, collaborate with various industries, use many of the technology innovations and solutions to provide the clean energy solutions that we are looking for, making our plan and desired that sustainable is attainable.
Yes, and a big target it certainly is, and we're trying to do our part of ensuring that this is a conversation that is mainstreamed. It is a conversation that reaches out to every household in India. Mr. Sinha, a pleasure. Thanks very much for joining us on this very special campaign, Sustainable is Attainable. Thank you for speaking to us, giving us your insights on how we can expect the renewable energy ecosystem to build itself out in India, what is needed, and more importantly, what Tata Power is doing to ensure that sustainable is truly attainable for the Indian consumer and for the nation. Well, that is it on this edition of our very special campaign that we've brought to you in partnership with Tata Power at News 18 Network. We are committed to working together to make sustainable energy solutions more attainable in India and provide a better quality of life without the need to carbonize. Thanks very much to our viewers for tuning in, and of course do remember to keep the conversation going on this very special News 18 Network initiative.